Hello, I'm Joe,
And I'm Ricky.
and this is the second episode of the third season of Beer and Broadband. It should come out on April 13th, 2020. And yeah, we're not in the same room, which is odd because we're recording all these remotely since we're all quarantined. Um, but beer still exists, and therefore we must talk about it. And technology still exists, so we must talk about it. Let's talk about Fat Tire's Amber Ale. So this is a little bit less of a specialty thing. Um, it is one that's fairly well known. It's a Colorado brewing company. They also have one in one of their things in their breweries in Asheville, North Carolina. Um, but it is a pretty popular beer around this area, and for some reason I don't see 5.2% ABV. Um, and it says it was established in 1991, but this is Fat Tire's Amber Ale. So got this one specifically because I kind of like their beer, and we've never talked about it, and I just thought it'd be a fun thing to talk about. So, um, and it's a break from
Yeah.
stouts. So what do you think?
No, I like this one. I've actually had this a couple times before. It's not like my first pick at a restaurant, but there's a couple pubs around here I used to go to before everything shut down that had this on the menu. It's a really good backup. It's got some real good, like, kind of caramel and malt flavors to it.
Mm-hmm.
My only real complaint about it is it's not super complex. So if you're like quickly drinking it, you really just get like a little bit of sweetness and then just like the bitterness of the hops. There's not a whole lot else there. You really, to appreciate it, got to take it pretty slow. So it's kind of like not the best thing to have with a meal.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's so this is a good beer. It's just a good general beer. It's like if you wanted to have a Budweiser, right?
Hmm.
And you wanted it to actually taste good, this is what it should taste like. It's got the right amount of bitter versus caramel, sugar, malty notes. But there's nothing on it that is like, oh yeah, I've got this like cinnamon raisin flavor, or there's this like really cool flavor here or that, this or that. So um you know I've found it kind of an interesting um thing to have around and drink, because I can just kind of sip it mindlessly.
Hmm.
um and I think it and Red Oak kind of remind me of each other in the terms of the way that I kind of view the beer. It's not a bad beer. I really do enjoy it, but it's not like getting the Abyss, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's really more of like an everyday, just almost like a, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's a good everyday beer, but it's not like a sipping beer. It's not one of those things that like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie. Let me get this amber ale. It is something I'm gonna like savor while I watch the whole movie. This is kind of more like, hey, I want a beer. Maybe I'm at a party, or maybe just like sometimes I'll drink alcohol if I'm having like a hard time sleeping. It's a good thing for that. It's like this is something that you're just gonna drink kind of fairly quickly. There's not a lot of complex flavors. You don't get the most out of it if you drink it quickly, but I feel like there's not enough there to really like you know. It's not like if you get like a dragon's milk and you're gonna
Yeah.
sit there and you're gonna drink that and you're gonna drink it for like 2 hours. This is something you're gonna drink in like 15 minutes. Yeah, like my glass is gonna be empty by the time this podcast is over.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um I don't know. I probably won't drink it through this podcast. I don't know. I might. I've already crushed it. Like as far like I just kind of threw it back. It's so easy to drink. It's very sippable,
Hmm.
as I've heard
Yeah.
somebody say before. It's just
Yeah,
not
I like
hard.
that better. I know crushables, like the term that people use. I don't. I'm sure that has a history. I'm sure there's a reason it's called that, but I just never think of it that way.
You've hit old man status at this point.
Oh,
that's what
is that a young
that's
kid's term?
that's a young kid term. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what the hip kids is saying now.
Look,
Uh,
at work, I'm in a chat room with Drew and Derek. I already feel like an old man. I've witnessed entire days where every single comment was made in meme form. Nothing makes me feel older than that. Like, wish you guys would lay off the pictures. I was like, oh no, I'm old. It's happened. That's the moment.
But there's a point where like you go, because that's how I mostly communicate. My meme game is strong, and so there's a point where you like flip around with the memes.
I don't know. Like, I don't mind the occasional meme, and I'm fine with like a couple memes, but I forget what it was. But that was something I was looking through. That like the first sentence was like real. It was like a hey, can you do this for me? But then like the next 8 replies was like a meme and then a meme reaction to that meme that then had another meme reaction to that meme. And
Yes.
so I went to check my messages and I just scroll up for like a page and a half worth of these. Not, it's Webex, so it doesn't resize them very well. These really overly large pictures. And it's like, okay, what has happened here?
Hmm. I don't know. I it doesn't really bother me. I don't know. I kind of don't mind it. I actually enjoy it. I participate in this.
Yeah,
It's
I gotta do that more. I don't participate in it enough. Maybe I'm too serious at work. There's like a work Ricky and there's like a not work Ricky.
Yeah,
I,
Ricky, you're kind of serious. That's one of the reasons I like you so much. Even when you're joking, you're pretty serious.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Fun Ricky is still semi-serious Ricky.
Fun Ricky is still semi-serious. Joe, basically.
Yeah, I've
Fun
told you
Joe
that.
is semi-serious.
Yeah, I've told you
So
that story, right? Like the thing, like you know how like when you're a little kid, you get nicknames for like various reasons. My thing, for as much as I like comedy and like telling jokes, when I was little, my thing is like I wouldn't laugh. Like
hmm.
all the other elementary schools would try to get me to laugh, and I couldn't because I was at school. School is serious business.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're given your background, that I don't really see how that wouldn't be the thing. You know, you still take school really seriously.
Yeah, when there's work to be done, like I don't mind humor, and I joke around with Thomas all the time, but that work's getting done. I'm too much of a workaholic to ignore it.
Well, but I think so. I mean, this kind of goes on to our next topic. Um, Everything got canceled, right? Everything has been turned off. All the the major things have stopped. So whether it's your local you know re- Thai restaurant isn't letting people come in and eat there anymore,
Hmm.
or the local bookstores shut down, or you're talking about like E3 got canceled,
Yeah.
or something like that. Like all the major events are canceled, everything's shut down, and everybody's got to do some work. So how are they doing that? Of course, people are working from home. They're using VPN and stuff like that, but work's still got to get done. So even though like you can make some jokes and stuff like that now, like you can talk about people like no, but work still got to get done.
Yep.
We got to work. We still got to do stuff. So it's okay to be serious about that. Like to be like, no, work still got to get done. But I think like and all the time that I've known you, like every joke that I've ever cracked at work in any of our mutual things, you never get them. Like you're so just
No, I get the
focused.
jokes, but you're right. I don't laugh a lot at work.
But that there's so much to laugh at work. I mean, we work with some very interesting people.
Oh, we do. And see, I think part of it is, and this is unfortunate for you, um, you have always been like in a higher position than I have. So either like I directly report to you, not so much as now that like you're in your architect position. It's loosened
No,
up a little bit.
you do directly report to me. I am your main supervisor as far as tech work goes.
Yeah, what I'm meaning is like generally previously it was like a very much like you were my team lead. Like if we were in a meeting together, or at least we're not, it's like, well, everybody here is reporting to Joe. Now it's not the time. Some of my one-on-one meetings is where I open up a bit more.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Our one-on-one meetings are like when we get together and play Dungeons and Dragons or something. We're just kind of chewing the fat. But I mean, we both like we'll switch from like, oh, we're laughing and joking about stuff. Now, seriously, let's talk about this
Yeah, yeah.
like thing. Like we do that all the time, so that's kind of normal. Um, yeah. So, how do you feel about all these like movies getting canceled and like movie theaters shutting down and then putting stuff online? Like things have become free for people to like do virtual tours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, it's really nice to see a lot of the companies that offer like remote services starting to open those things back up. Maybe there's a little hypocrisy in like some of the ISPs that are doing it because they were saying, "Oh, we can't possibly do it because we just immediately go out of business." Suddenly, like, well, things we've called out before, like some of the data cap stuff never
Right.
really made sense. But it is good to see that stuff get relaxed. It's nice to see, a lot of talk about Zoom, a lot of schools using Zoom, and they've opened that up. They've made that, I think, cheaper for schools and then free for like students and things like that. So,
Well, there's a
but
free tier and there's a not free tier, but we'll talk about that in one of our getting too far ahead.
yeah, yeah. But it is nice. I'll say though, I worry a lot about some of these businesses that can't adapt. As much as we say like you can't go into restaurants, at least they're still in business because they're doing like pickup.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stores that can't do that, like the movie theaters are closed. And the thing is, like, for as much god awful amount of money that movies make, the theaters don't make a lot. Like the big ones, like AMC's,
Yeah.
AMC's gonna survive this. But like the town I grew up in had a very small, like local movie theater. It's called the Howe Theater, and they mostly just like showed old movies. That's how they got around like it costing so much to get a reel. They never had anything that was current. Like if it was showing in a major theater, it wasn't showing now. They'd be like a year behind the times. But they sold like cheap popcorn. I'm sure they didn't have much of a profit margin. I mean, they were paying for their owner and their employees and their rent, and that was about it. So to see those places shut down, you kind of got to worry. If this drags on too long, what's gonna happen there?
So I actually think places like that will probably some of them will go out of business and some of them will come back up. But you're right. I mean, they didn't really like look at the way that things were going and adapt or think about a strategy that kind of fit into the new world. But there are some even like big name movie theaters like AMC's talked about needing a bailout from the
Oh yeah,
government.
yeah.
And um, that. But here's the thing for me: why do we need to go to a movie theater? I mean, I know there's like an experience and everything, but why do I need to go pay $35 when a movie just has been released? Because we can release those things to at the same time as in the theater, we can release it to our homes. I mean, every major theater release now is being released directly, and you can buy it like $20. You can buy it, stream to you, and you can watch it. Watched Onward with my family
Hmm.
last weekend. We bought it for
Oh,
$20. It would have cost all of us like $100 and something to go to the movies and get
that,
popcorn and do all that
that's
stuff.
almost a shame, actually. That just came out, like for Disney Plus.
Yeah. Well, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't do, I refuse to do Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
but
But no, I agree with you.
yeah,
This was the exact same conversation I had with my wife. She was like, "Oh man, the AMC down the street, they're not going to be open. We're gonna have to like do the movies online." I was like, "Oh no, I won't have to pay $10 a ticket plus then the alcohol. Plus we say we're not going to get snacks, but as soon as you have the alcohol in your hands, you want a snack.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it costs two people like 30, $40 to go to the
But
movie.
a beer there is like $10. A beer at home's like three, maybe
Exactly.
two.
Well, or
Maybe,
realistically, if I'm at home, I'm going to make my own mixed drinks for like pennies on the dollar, or just
yeah,
drink something I make.
yeah, exactly.
When we watched
So
Onward, boom, we didn't go out and buy alcohol. We had strawberry wine, and it was great.
yeah,
So yeah, for the big ones, I don't know. I've always had my problems with the way that industry works, where basically your theaters are charging you this much because they get almost nothing off the ticket. You're still paying so much on a ticket.
Yeah.
that AMC barely sees anything off of. So it's all just food. So of course they overcharge for the food. But I do worry about some of the independent theaters, like that House Theater, where it's like I want to go watch a movie and have popcorn and drink with it, and it's like $6. That's a good experience. Like, I'll pay $6 to go do that
Yeah,
because
but
like
see that's the way every what I'm saying is that's the movie industry needs to like get with the times. They what they're stuck in like the 1930s where you would just charge a bunch and it was like the rich who would come and it was like this big experience. But what they've done is they've taken the experience and they've lessened it, and but
yeah,
they've just continued to charge more. So I don't feel bad about any of that. Like I'm like for years I've been saying, look, get rid of this crap. Let people work from home, adjust to the times. There's some things that you can't do that. Like a garbage person is not going to be able to work from home. But when we get drones that people can drive, yes, a garbage person can work from home. They can control that drone around the city and it can just go pick up stuff and the person can just sit there and control it from home. So no, I don't think that we need to be like just trying to have a death grip on things like that. And I'm a person who doesn't really love change. So I think I think that this is just kind of a dumb thing that we're doing here. Which when we basically just talked about everybody's working from home now, and it's like, oh my god, you know, everyone can work from home. Why didn't we think that this could happen before? And there are people that are like, oh, this is gonna like Barnes and Noble, just like we're just gonna send everybody home and shut down our store. But they it's stupid, right? Okay, so you have an online presence, you have an online store. You could just think of ways to transition your physical workers to managing stuff so that they can do online stuff, the online stuff. It's not rocket science. You focus on your online business while your physical stores can't be open. You do things
yeah.
that
Well, I
compete.
think I get that, but I think a lot of those businesses are looking at this of a look. I'm Barnes and Noble. I already have an online presence. It's nowhere near as strong as the book sales for a lot of other sellers like Amazon. But there's a lot of people that buy their books online at Barnes and Noble, but they already have those infrastructures. Like, you can maybe say, well, I could take a couple additional workers if I think my book sales are going to spike, which maybe they will because people are sitting at home. But you're not going to have a place for all your workers. I mean, like that's kind of the thing with all automation. You know, you make automation, it doesn't eliminate all the jobs. It takes a percentage of those jobs and makes them into new jobs. But you generally don't have a one-to-one conversion there. When we start saying, well, there's going to be people in the stores that are out of work, you can grab some of them, but you can't grab all of them. And then, before there are some things that you can't. I
Well,
mean,
okay, so
realistically, ever work from home. If
this
you're
is
a
true.
hairdresser, that sort of thing.
Like, well, yes, I'm not saying that that's not gonna this isn't gonna impact some people. But the thing that I'm just specifically going back to Barnes and talking. Um, they so there are some people that are part time workers that are like college kids, right? And I know they still need to have food and everything like that, but they possibly probably went back home when this pandemic started. They probably didn't stay in their dorm room, because they're not going to be able to work anyway. High school students kind of the same way. Your Goodberries and stuff like that. They're not going to have their employees there to be able to do whatever. So I'm talking more about like people like your managers and people like that are more like full-time workers or even like your more consistent part-time workers. You can transition them. You can look at your you're going to miss some people, but you can get a large number of those people in transition. um Having to make some of these decisions in my role at times, it is like one of those things where you can find ways to take care of your employees, and when you do that, your employees are going to take care of you. you know um I think that's one of the things that really is that bites you when you're a business. You're thinking like, oh, we can't do things the way that we've always done them. And yeah, maybe your infrastructure isn't built up for that, but if you think outside the box, you can find new ways to do stuff. And if you find ways to employ your people during tough times like this, they will be way more loyal to you, and they will therefore make your business better. It's not like rocket science. And we have like there's several things out there that prove this. I mean, there's companies that do this with their employees, especially in the tech sector, and their employees make great things for those businesses. So I think companies like Barnes and Noble need to, and whatever else is out there that maybe needs to be able to do some of these things. Like so PetSmart basically just shut down and like sent all their workers home, right?
Mhm.
Um, what if they were like, okay, well, I know that you can't bring your dog to PetSmart, and that doesn't like break then that doesn't break the quarantine. But what if we set up and we like created mobile grooming stations, and we sent all of our people around, and you could, because I mean, dogs have to have people to take care of them. Either they can do social distancing where like they have a mobile grooming station, they'll come get the dog from your vehicle and put it in, so you just drive there with the dog or cat or whatever. That's the way that vets are doing it. Your animal still needs to be taken care of, right? You can't just ignore that. And I know like an animal can kind of go longer, but if you think outside the box about things like that, you can continue to do business. Is my point. Um,
Yeah, I mean that's true, but of course I think in the terms of PetSmart, they shut down the grooming stations. Like the stores themselves are still open, because they're marked as essential because they provide, food supplies for the animals. And I think because I know someone who works over at one of the PetSmarts, and they're just being offered to like walk the floor. Like, basically, if you were a groomer and you're no longer, or they're giving you the option to like go be like a clerk, you're still employed. They're just changing what their job is.
right, but what I'm saying is that so they changed with that. PetSmart's still open, but they could still provide that service. It's not like that service is kind of like a needed service. It's not like people know how to, but people don't have the equipment and they don't know how to generally take care of their animals in that sort of
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's
capacity.
definitely still a service that I would think you could call essential because again, there's a lot of breeds of dog that if they're not groomed, you know, that's not going to go great. And if you're in the
Especially in
mindset of,
summer.
yeah, you're in the mindset, oh, well, it's only going to last 3 weeks. Okay, nothing bad is going to happen in 3 weeks. But realistically, it's probably not going to be 3 weeks. When we start saying this is going to be 1 or 2 seasons, yeah, those dogs kind of need it. Um, we'll see how that goes
Yeah.
because, well, from what I understood about that, is the reason they did it was they were worried about putting their groomers at risk, which is why they let them like change their job. Um, maybe that'll come back if it lasts longer, or maybe it won't, or maybe just the groomers will decide, hey, this isn't good. That's PetSmart's kind of on my list of people I think have done it okay, because at least that decision was not fueled by how much profit they can make. It was fueled by what's going to keep these groomers safe.
Yeah, maybe I use them as a bad example, but I don't disagree with you on that about PetSmart. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely is that time, and it really is if you're an employer time to think about what makes the most sense for both you as a company, but also for your employees. Like there was a news article I was reading about a guy who owned a theater, and since they had to shut down the movies, they were selling like street side popcorn. You could still get your movie theater popcorn for like a couple bucks because he was trying to keep some income in so that he could keep paying his employees. And that's in like an industry. There's not really much. If you're like franchising a movie theater, you're not allowed to have more than like a couple dozen people in your building. You're not showing movies on that. But that's at least, an outside of the box solution to how can I keep a little bit of income so that I can try and keep my employees working
Hmm.
for the time they can. People need to be thinking about that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you alluded to one of the topics that I wanted to talk about, that a lot of the video streaming, like uh, um, the chat apps. That's not the right word. The video conferencing apps. That's the word I'm looking for.
Hmm.
Have gone during this time. They've gone to where they're free. So they're
Yeah,
either like 30 days for free, or they're just like during this season they're free. So I know like Webex, Zoom, Skype has like a free tier. They've all done something where they're like, oh, we'll just give you this for free, and you can use it to do whatever you want to. Um, we used Webex the other day to play D&D, which worked swimmingly, worked wonderfully. It was
yeah,
great.
it was really nice.
Um, yeah, so um, yeah, just something I wanted to call out there. If you want to like do stuff, get have a virtual happy hour, or go do like talk to your friends if they're lonely. Download the Webex app, or the Skype app, or the Zoom app. I don't know. Zoom's got some security problems. It might be the most popular thing right now, but I'd say steer clear of it. Um, Popular doesn't always mean best. Webex is a really solid, secure program. I'd probably use it, or Skype, if
Yeah,
I was somebody out there. So
yeah, it's really a smart thing to try out right now, especially because it's free. I think it was such a good decision for a lot of these companies to do it. I mean, apart from it's a very nice thing to do. You've got people that even if they're not inclined in the future to use remote solutions, have something to do, that they can work with for right now. And I think a lot of people are going to see that some of these remote solutions are nice. Like my wife, she goes and she sees counselor once a week. All that's happening online now. It's all via Skype call, and it's like the special like type of therapy where like the counselor needs to see her because it's about like when you're like saying certain statements, like how does your body react, like what's your body language and stuff like that. So the counselor can still see all of it. It's been really successful, and they're just trucking along. Like there's nothing wrong with doing it remotely. We did our D&D thing remotely, and that was super chill. We're doing our podcast here remotely.
yeah,
A lot of these solutions is you'll take the time. And a lot of times, it's not even a lot of investment. You'll just invest that little bit up front to get it working. They can be really good solutions for you and give you a reason to buy it when it's not free anymore.
yeah, I agree. That's not always the best thing to put out there. But yeah, it's a good it's a good option for everybody. Is there anything else you want to say about that?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
Okay,
Taking the
cool.
last sip of my amber. I did finish this before it was over.
I did not finish mine. It'll be for after the podcast
Yeah.
recording thing is done. But this has been the second episode of the third season of Beer and Broadband. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. You guys have a great one. Be safe out there. Thanks for everybody that's supporting us during this time.